Broadcasting to viewers in Liberia and across the globe. Hello and welcome to News Today on KMTV. My name is Anthony Kukuin. Wherever you're watching us from, we say thanks for joining our news broadcast tonight. Let's take a look at stories making headlines. Liberia's permanent representative to the United Nations, D. Mazwe Kimian, said access to information is very essential to democratic functioning. Blue Crest University College graduates first batch of students after 5 years of existence. Welcome once again to KMTV News. We begin at the United Nations General Assembly, where Liberia's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador D. Mazwe Kimian, said access to information is very essential for the democratic functioning of a society, shaping political, social, and economic perspectives, and vital for sustainable development of countries. Ambassador Kimian emphasized that access to information was an embedded of all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, facilitating both implementation and the measurement for progress.
The draft resolution we are submitting today draws on Resolution 38C/70, adopted unanimously by the member states of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. Since the adoption of the UNESCO resolution, several countries and civil society organizations celebrate the day annually, raising awareness on the importance of access to information. We also thank the many countries from different regions and international partners and civil society organizations, including but not limited to UNESCO, the African Platform for Access to Information, the Press Union of Liberia, PUL, and all other media institutions around the world. Access to information is very essential for the democratic functioning of a society, shaping our political, social, and economic perspectives, and vital for the sustainable development of countries. Recognized by the new United Nations Development Framework, the Sustainable Development Goals, under Goal 16.10.2, access to information serves as an enabler of all other sustainable development goals, whether it is ending poverty in all of its forms, everywhere, ensuring healthy lives and well-being, ensuring equitable education, gender equality and women empowerment, youth empowerment, promoting peaceful and inclusive societies, or reducing inequalities within and among countries. None of these sustainable development goals can be achieved without access to information. The progress towards achieving the sustainable development goals cannot be measured without access to information.
Meanwhile, Ambassador Kimian also commended all countries and stakeholders for working tirelessly in making sure that to ensure the effectiveness of freedom of information law is enhanced properly.
The draft resolution we are submitting today draws on Resolution 38C/70, adopted unanimously by the member states of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. Since the adoption of the UNESCO resolution, several countries and civil society organizations celebrate the day annually, raising awareness on the importance of access to information. We also thank the many countries from different regions and international partners and civil society organizations, including but not limited to UNESCO, the African Platform for Access to Information, the Press Union of Liberia, PUL, and all other media institutions around the world who have championed initiatives promoting access to information around the world over the years. The action we take today will reaffirm our collective resolve as the world body, the United Nations, to work together to enhance access to information and promote democracy and the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals.
To this development now, about 68 students Friday graduated from the Blue Crest University College after 4 years of academic work. The program marks the first convocation exercise of the institution after 5 years of existence. Our reporter Julius Compton covered the program and has more in this report.
The historic and inaugural graduation and convocation exercise of the Blue Crest University College was characterized by jubilation from the graduates, including family members, after 4 years of intensive studies by the students. Given the history, including the impact of Blue Crest to Liberia, was the president, Dr. Kajendra Singh, who encouraged the graduates to play a lead role in society.
For this first graduation ceremony, a total of 68 students will be awarded degrees and diploma. Distinguished graduates, you are graduating at the time when Africa as a whole is desperate in need of social transform. Go therefore as a true ambassadors of Blue Crest University College. Go and play a leading role in bringing about the change what we are looking for. I can assure you it's not over yet. It is now beginning. As you go out, you will be required to give testimony by translating your theoretical knowledge into the action. Let your light shine, let your faith shine. Don't forget, Blue Crest is your home away from.
Delivering the first commencement address at the ceremony was Vice President Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, who urged the Blue Crest family to set up standards of excellence to eliminate negative vices in the sector. She at the same time commended the Blue Crest University College for complementing government purpose agenda for prosperity and development on education for all.
Today in our universities and schools across our country, little girls have to sleep with professors to get their grades right. Today, across our nation, people have to pay for all kinds of things. Children are disadvantaged, especially our girls. Make sure, as you set standards for excellence in education, that those negative vices are eliminated. And if you find it, punish it to the maximum to give the standard that you will not allow your university to be misused and to take advantage of it.
Vice President Taylor also called on the graduates to do their best to achieve higher in life.
In spite of the difficulties our nation has gone through, in spite of the many challenges we still face, personal challenge, family challenges, community challenges, and national challenges, each of us need to go through the process of renewal and restoration and come out brighter and stronger and able to transform our nation. Never be afraid of challenges, as they will come. But they come only to make us stronger and allow us to see beyond the present into the future. Challenges make us see beyond ourselves and look at the collective good. Each of you must always be prepared to move to the next level in order to grow and expand. Get out of your comfort zone. Whenever one gets in a place where they seem stuck, we must lay aside the weights that so easily beset us, shake it off, and start again.
At the same time, the valedictorian of the first graduating class, Enoch Cooper Jalad, encouraged his colleagues to do their best in everything in order to achieve lasting progress.
I want to say this: make your computer your best friend. I repeat, make your computer your best friend. There are times people will call you a nerd. They may call you antisocial. They may say you don't have friends. But all of that is what it takes to give you the best results. Everything, and I repeat, everything is possible to achieve once you give it your best shot. And do
The first graduation ceremony of the Bluecrest University College saw 68 young people walking out of the walls of that educational institution with deserving degrees and diplomas after 4 years of studies in various disciplines to include software, networking, and information technology, among others. I am Julius Compton reporting.
Many thanks to our reporter Julius Compton for that report from the Bluecrest University first convocation exercise. The Prince Ibrahim and E.C. Bella Freedom Foundation has disclosed that they will hold a one-day historic teaching ceremony in Monrovia on Saturday. The founder of the institution at Timon's Gate said the event is geared towards educating the public on the importance of history and other value systems in Liberia. He said the knowing of history can help inform national decision-making processes. He asked me to explain more to KMTV News.
Most people in Liberia will be unaware that 400 years ago, or even in the African continent, what happened to people of African descent. It was not the beginning of slavery, but 400 years ago, August 19, 1619, the first group of Africans were labeled as enslaved people in the United States. So part of what we intend to do is to remember that past. So we are working towards telling people Liberia stand to benefit by knowing that history. So Providence Island will be a site. We are going to have a picnic tomorrow, but not just a picnic, but a kind of educational remembrance of those who have passed through that and also returned to this continent. So tomorrow event will be more educational.
Dr. Gay, 400 years ago, it's a very long time. How does it impact a society like Liberia coming to tell us, to educate the public about, the past?
Well, a nation or a person who fail to read or understand his or her past most likely going to find themselves in confusion. Direction matters. That is why when you go to the hospital, the medical doctor gives you your history, your health history. It tells you about your past, so you know where to go. Our history has been couched in myth, in lies, and at times contested truths. So part of what we intend to do is to get us to understand that our history is important to move us forward. We cannot talk about reconciliation without knowing our history. We cannot talk about justice without knowing our past. So these are all intertwined. So this is the reason why I believe 400 years, what happened is also important to our history in Liberia too.
Well, Dr. Gay has also been explaining about some of the activities his institution is involved with.
The foundation serves as a connector, so we do a lot of work in education, in awareness, charity, and also in building institutions. So these are the things we do for, as I said, since 2003. So we are actually here to establish some farming project, some school project, and we are very sure that the foundation work will expand beyond that aspect. Part of learning is to teach through demonstration. So what the foundation has done, we shipped a container that had been cleared. We brought in small farm tools that will help. Is more of mechanizing our activities. So those tractors will help cut down the cost of physical labor. So we want to demonstrate that this can happen. And what we do, we partner with a family. We name this project after our foundation and your family. And your family. We do the work together. That way your farm is much bigger. You have an easier way to grow your crop. And if so, we can even help you to sell your product. That makes it more of a partnership, so that the struggle is not just about a subsistence farming, but you can move beyond that to a small to medium-sized farm. Right now in Cape Town, we are also going to add fishery, because we also brought in some boats, so that way we can also make use of the lake. So these are the two areas of our operation. In the next plan, we're also going to add animals, so when we want to get involved with issue of poultry. And help our people to find a marketplace for them. So these are going to be very key in our work we do.
In a wake of ongoing political and economic crisis in Liberia, a former and angry member of the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change, Prince Tablater, has heavily alleged that President George Weah is engulfed with bad national leaders in government who are leading the country into total darkness. Prince, who resigned from the CDC due to the ruling party's failure to listen to some key concerns from him and others, said Liberia is getting worse by the day. He challenged President Weah to muster the courage to dismiss some government officials who are not seeking the interests of the ordinary people and government. He also warned the Liberian leader to avoid the many international travels and focus on the core issues of the country.
How can the president tackle the bread and butter issues of the economy? Because you can employ every citizen that voted for you. 14 candidates voted for you overwhelmingly. You can employ everyone. But if the bread and butter issues of the economy are tackled, the common man who stood in the line, who risked their life, who you did not give $5 to campaign for you, and they were abused, they were humiliated, they were maltreated, they voted for you. You know how many of them feel? I'm just one of the many who have similar plight. President George Manuel Weah has engulfed himself with people who are leading Liberia in a downward trend. The issues here is the bread and butter issue of the economy should be tackled. When President Weah inherited the country, the U.S. rate was at 138, 139. Today the U.S. rate is somewhere around 215, 220. Things prices, I used to buy a bag of red 1,008, 1,920. Now, the last time I checked, I bought a bag of red 3,050. Gasoline, their things are very high. Matches, mosquito coil, sausages, gari, almost everything are on a very high basis, and the people are suffering. So what? Should we be in the CDC singing praise to George Weah because we voted for him? Moreover, there are people in the CDC government that need not to be there. There are people. Example, the lives of Eugene Fagon, the lives of the Justice Minister, many other people who are not top brand partisan, or who are not partisan, but one way or the other were accommodated. They are not doing things in the interest of the vast majority of the people. I think the president should muster the political will and have these guys fired effective immediately.
Liberia Agricultural Company Hospital General Administrator has described health anesthetics role as critical to the profession in Liberia. Due to the important role played at rural health facilities by anesthetics, Mr. Momolu Johnson admonished government and employers to take important the welfare of such group. According to Mr. Momolu, health workers should take home good salaries that will encourage them to improve on their careers.
They are very important. They are versatile employees. They are not only restricted in the operating room, they are also on the wards. trying to save lives. And nurse anesthetists in general are very important in that without the nurse anesthetists, the doctors cannot do their surgery. So in order to save life, in order for the doctors to do their work, the nurse anesthetists should be there to do that work too. It's a very serious issue in Liberia. People and employers in Liberia do not really respect people for their work they do. We don't respect professionalism. So we want to speak to that. We want the anesthetic association to at least have a conference where they will set a benchmark for their members, so that when an employer wants to employ any of their members, there will be a salary benchmark for that employer to work with. The nurses in Liberia, in this high economic situation, are still making $12,000 in some hospitals. $12,000 for a nurse who is there to save life, to take home. What are you giving them for transportation? There is nothing allocated for that, but they just take home $12,000. If even they deduct their transportation from there, they will be left with nothing. So we want to urge our employers in Liberia, our government, to respect labor. Let us respect labor. Let us know the benefit of labor.
Well, with that development, that's how we go home on this weekend's edition of KMTV News today. But before we go, a recap of the headlines. Liberia's permanent representative to the United Nations, D. Maswe Kimian, said access to information is very essential to the democratic functioning of a society. And Blue Crest University College graduates first batch of students after 5 years of existence. We say many thanks to you for always joining our news broadcast from across the globe. On behalf of the entire news team here, my name is Anthony Kuku. You can also visit our website at www.kmtvliberia.com for more news and information. Until we're back here Monday with more developments, do have yourself a pleasant weekend from Camp Johnson, Roy Monrovia. Good night.